Hello, my name is Joy. I currently live in San Antonio. I currently live here in Seattle, Seattle, Texas. I did live in San Antonio one time. So what happened to me is I have schizoaffective disorder. How did this come about? How did I find out? Well, I was going along in my life, doing the things you're supposed to do, working, and I started doing bizarre things, spending sprees just out of the blue, eating my lunch in cemeteries, and just out of the blue just going to try to find Michael Jackson and where he lived. And I befriended a cab driver, and he had just gotten out of prison for murder, but it didn't dawn on me. I mean, that's dangerous and reckless behavior, again. And so I'm going along working, and I meet my husband. Now he's my ex-husband. We get married. The marriage is a little rocky, and I started suffering from depression, and it was the kind of depression you can't shake. I mean, everybody gets down. You have your down days of stress. Something's going on with your job, or maybe your kids. This was that unshakable depression I couldn't shake. It was like a dark cloud over me, following me. So finally that subsided, and then I went again into mania. And after that I had my daughter, and we moved from the East Coast to Texas. And from Texas I worked a little, but I started to get sick physically and more mentally. I started seeing things. I thought our apartment was bugged. I thought the CIA was after me. I thought the FBI was after me. So I tore the apartment apart looking for bugs in the heater, and the refrigerator, and the computer and typewriter, and a little bit in the car. I thought there were rats running all over the rug, so I called maintenance, and they came out twice, and then after that they wouldn't come out. And then we moved to a different complex after 5 years, and I got worse. I was paranoid, and then after September 11th, I thought, oh no, they're going to think I'm a terrorist, and that I caused 9/11. So I took my daughter out of school, and we went from Texas to San Diego. I stayed with my sister for a little while, and everywhere I went, I was frightened. I'm like, oh no, they're going to be looking for us. They're especially looking at her to torment me. They're trying to get to me, so they're going to mess with her. This was in my mind. So then my ex-husband flew out to get her, to take her back to school, and he told me he wanted a divorce. So I was alone. I'm wondering, what am I going to do? So I wandered around San Diego for a little while. Then I went to LA. And then my sister told me, you can come stay with me and couch surf until you decide what you want to do with your life. So I went to stay with her, and I would go back and forth from San Antonio to El Paso. And I got worse. I started to hear it sounded like my daughter was next door to me. I didn't know if they had flown her in and they were trying to torture me by letting me hear her voice. Everywhere I go, I would hear her. At the library, I would hear her voice. And I was just tormented and so frightened. I called Homeland Security. I called CPS to tell them, my child was in danger. And I got worse. I just got worse. And I was so frightened of everything. And then one day, I had heard that there was a shooting the day before. So I thought, oh no, they're going to try to shoot me. That's what they're going to do. They're going to resort to that. So I said, they're going to try to especially shoot me up here in the belly. So I grabbed my George Foreman grill and wrapped it around my stomach. I said, well, I have to go to the store. So I pushed the grill down and walked over to across the street to the grocery store. When I got there, the George Foreman grill started to slip. So I pushed it down like, oh, and then at that time, the store clerk came over to me and said, ma'am, can I help you? I said, well, I've got this George Foreman grill in my pants. I'm trying to push it back down. I have it in here because I don't want to get shot. I really don't. And that would be awful if I got shot and couldn't see my daughter. And he said, what? What? Oh, never mind. And he walks away. But after that, I got progressively worse. This time I started hearing voices everywhere I went, past the post office, past Joann's Fabric, past Big Lots and Chuck E. Cheese. I heard it sounded like, first it sounded like my daughter's voice crying. Then it sounded like an echo. Then there was a running commentary at times where I would hear a voice say, we're watching her. And then my ex-husband said, yeah, I know you are. And then the other guy said, okay, well, we got to find out where she's going. And the voices were so loud, I couldn't understand how nobody else could hear these things. I just couldn't understand this. And so after that time, we were separated. So I would stay into contact with my daughter. And then she started going to school. She was working, trying to put herself through school. Of course, it was taking time because she had to work. And I was sick. I couldn't help her. But I had made a promise before. I had said, I'm going to help you try to get a used car. I can't help you get a new one. And try to help you with school in some way. And she said, no, Mom, I know you're sick. You don't have to do that. So I got sicker. Of course, I couldn't do it. So time went on. I've gotten sicker. And then I came to Seattle, and I got better. It was a blessing. Started getting medicine. Found I'm schizoaffective, not just bipolar, but bipolar with a tail. Schizoaffective, like I said, the marriage between bipolar and schizophrenia. And some people feel it's more on the schizophrenia spectrum than it is on the other one. But I got better, and I got housing, and I'm doing well. And then I remembered I promised my daughter I would help her. She really needs me now. She said, Mom, you remember you promised, you're okay now, you remember you promised you would help me? You know, give me a little bit of money toward getting a used car and a little bit of help with school, but I could really use the help now. I said, you know what, I've still got my great-grandmother's brooch. I'll take it and see how much it's worth. I know I can do that. In fact, I know I can help you because I know it's worth something. Well, I took that brooch in, and it's worth 2 tickets to the zoo. No help at all. So this is why I'm asking for assistance. I want to help my daughter keep my promise and help her to get a used car. I can't help her with a new one. And help her, give her some money towards, finishing up school. Thank you.